all the other shit is, like I said, WWF shit. But them niggas is into that wrestling shit, so they do that. I don't wrestle, nigga.
That's a bar. I'll hold you. They are into the wrestling shit.
Yeah, they into that shit. I don't do that. I don't do all that.
Alright, babe. What up, y'all? For Complex, I'm Jordan Rose, and today I am joined with two legends. The Alchemist, Freddie Gibbs, in the building. My brothers, how we feeling?
Feeling great. Fresh out of therapy.
Listen, you should really try therapy, man.
Okay.
What's your catch-up? Why wouldn't you try it?
The therapist gotta be cute.
That ain't even right. That ain't even right, man. But listen, I'm not here to talk about therapy. I'm here to talk about Alfredo 2. The album is finally out. Now, y'all's first time officially collaborating is on Scottie Pippen's 2011. But I know that y'all knew each other since like 02, 03, 04, much earlier. Do you remember the first time that y'all met in person?
I think that I was just hanging out in his studio with like a bunch of other people, like Prodigy, Evidence, like Static Selector, like just a bunch. He just be, that's what he do. He thug it out in the studio. Just be a bunch. It was just vibes. So I was probably just hanging out in the studio at his shit probably for like, I don't know, 6-7 years before we even worked.
Yeah.
You know,
we got something. Like
we got
shit, I
joints.
found it somewhere in my computer.
We got
The other
old
day. It was
joints.
like 04 or 05. And I got some records we did back then. And if you hear it now, you'd be like, damn. I mean, he's light years better because he's been through phases, but you hear what became, you know, what we all know is Freddie. He was already killing it. It was like, he was just early on it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And I like how, you know, Freddie, you have this quote where you say, you don't hear songs, you see them.
Yeah.
What do you see when you hear some of Al's beats, especially on this joint?
It's like a bunch of colors, man. You know what I mean? Like, it's a real, I don't know, it's a colorful type of thing. You know what I mean? It's like I could see, like, that's why I kind of leaned in the direction of going with the Japanese theme on the album and everything. Because it's like when I was listening to it, I was just like, man, like, I was just feeling like I just wanted to do something, you know, like that nobody else was gonna do or even think about. You know what I mean? And, you know, I was going through, you know, a tough time when I was recording that, you know, the project, you know, mentally. So, you know, part of me mentally wanted to fight everybody that was, you know, going against me at the time. And I was just like, you know, I just kind of like developed a character and a lane for the project to really breathe. So, you know, and I think that was just as important as doing the music, you know what I mean? Like making sure that we came across with a great theme for a great project, you know. The music was stupendous, so I definitely didn't want to waste it on a bad idea, you know.
It wasn't a lot of experimental.
Yeah.
It was like, at this point, we were both dialed in so well. And every time I work with Freddie, it's like that. It's like, he's, like his writing process is crazy. Like he'll get the beat and you'll see him formulating. But when he has what he has, he's not like running it by me going, yo, what do you think about this? He's like, I got it. And he goes in and it's like laser precision. Some joints, like I remember on the first record, 85 was like one of the last joints we did. I remember he had the beat for a minute and he hit me. He was like, I cracked the code. I found the flow. And I was like, what you mean? And he sent me the joint and it was like, I see what you mean. Because he's always pushing himself. If it's a pattern or a topic or a melody, like he's not trying to do nothing regular or go through the same territory that he's already walked.
I be trying to create a flow. Every time I do like a rap or a record, I be trying to like I just did a new record last week with Killer Mike. And I was just like, I heard how he was rapping on the joint and I was like, all right, I want to rap like I haven't never rapped on this song. You know what I mean? And that's how I kind of approach every song, you know, because I don't want nobody to copy my flow, or I don't want to get stale or redundant. I don't want you to be like, oh yeah, that sound like a Freddie Gibbs flow. I want you to be like, damn, what is that? You know what I mean? Like every time I want to, you know, I kind of want to come out and you know, outdo myself. You know, just be more original than I was on the last one. You know? Yeah. I think that's what's gonna keep me doing it.
I know on the last one, y'all were watching a lot of The Last Dance when you were making Alfredo. Was there any movie in the background or in your mind when you were shaping this one?
Not really. I could sit up here and say some dumb shit like, yeah, I was watching a lot of kung fu movies. I wasn't watching none of that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just wanted to just make one, you know what I'm saying? But I don't really know. What was I watching during this time? A lot of porn.
Okay. What genre?
MILF.
Gotcha.
That's my thing.
Gotcha.
But, you know, that didn't have nothing to do with the album. That's just the type of thing, mode I was in.
Right.
But, yeah, but you know what? The fact that we got to, like, go to Japan and stuff like that, that brought a whole lot of, like, extra inspiration. You know what I mean? When we left Japan, it was like, all right, yeah, I'm about to knock the last couple joints off this album out and really go, you know what I mean? Really go stupid crazy with this shit. Like you said, like 1995 was probably like, was that one of the last records we did?
that too.
Yeah, it's like when I heard the guitar, you already know, they put me in the frame of the 1985, so I was like, all right, yeah, this is gonna be the intro. I could feel it. You know what I'm saying? So, like you said, I just wanted to tailor make the flow to that guitar riff that you love on there. You know what I'm saying? Because you know that ain't it ain't a lot of people on planet Earth that can rap on that, not precisely or correctly. You know, so I take pride in that.
And the beat, like, you know how it switches? Like, I'm not even going to take credit for that. A lot of those things, like, that's Freddie and Lambo and maybe Thurs.
Thurs was in
they
there too,
did, He had both of those beats, and they were like, yo, we're going to piece them together.
Yeah.
And, you know, he's good like that, so is Lambo. Like, they know how to put shit together where I could trust them. Where if they're like, yo, a lot of times I'll do that myself, you know what I mean? But on that record, they put it together.
And it was seamless.
It worked, right.
It worked.
Like, we fixed the transition a little, but just the sequence of those two and making it one record, that was more their idea.
And how helpful is that, Al, for you to be open-minded like that when Freddie or Lambo or somebody has a suggestion for a beat and you being open to that suggestion when you're creating?
I'm a team player. You know, I do enough stuff on my own, but then when I get a chance to collaborate with people that I think are on the same level, like, that's how we do it. Our minds combine, and we like come to the table and we hold a little court, and it's like shit. Especially if there's a handful of people, it's you know, the eyes have it. You know what I mean? And most of the time we agree. There's a few times that we were like at odds, and then we'll go your way and I'll go my way next time, and it always works because it's like playing on a team, a basketball team. Like you know your role sometimes. So. If I got to pass this time instead of shoot, or they got to take the shot or whatever, it always works, especially when you got a good unit. And we were able to, you know, run the play with the first album.
Yeah.
And that shit opened up my mind a lot, like especially on like the way we did the merch and the physical, you know. Freddie and Lambo, they kind of took charge, and it was like opened my mind up on ways that you could expand. That album opened a lot of doors for me with ALC Records, just with everything else I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? So it definitely opened my eyes. And then we had time, because the first one, you know, that's when the pandemic hit.
Yeah,
we did the record quick. We didn't get to tour it. So when it was time to do the second one, we were really like plotting a little better. We were, I think, a little better prepared.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? Yeah,
it was easier to create the world because I feel like we stamped it with the first one. So it's like, now let's, you know, I was, you know, reluctant to do a part two because I was like, damn, man, we got to do a part. We got to do a part two to this shit because Alfredo is Alfredo.
Right.
But it's like, all right, if we gonna do a part two, man, that shit got to be. We can't really. We can't listen to the first one and try to, you know, mimic that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? We can't. But at the same time, we can't leave the essence of that behind. So it's like, how do you really come, you know, meet in the middle with that? So that was really the main struggle of just, you know, doing a part two. And like I said, now I feel like we created a franchise, you know what I'm saying? I look at this shit like Lethal Weapon or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
it's I feel like it's a mainstay in rap. It's something, you know, the album got, I mean, it got one, you know, single name recognition. It's Alfredo. You know, when you think of that, you think of us. So,
Grammy nominated.
There you go.
I knew once we had this record, listening to it, that like, all right, Freddie's rhyming on a higher level. I feel the beats are a little, in comparison, once I started thinking apart, when I said, all right, in my heart, it felt like a step up slightly, you know, on the production, the rhymes, but I was like, damn, motherfuckers love that Alfredo one. There's like this nostalgic feel to it. So I wasn't sure how the world would react. But I knew in my heart, we both felt like this, because, you know, you're doing a part two, that's always some pressure. You know,
I think when we did like the first like 4 records, that's when I was like, we in there, dog. We on a good path. We on a path to greatness right now because we we got the. I mean, like I said, once we got the bulk of it, I think making the finishing pieces to the album was, that was easy.
Do you remember what the first record y'all cut was for this?
What was it?
Maybe Lavish Habits?
Lavish Habits.
Maybe Lavish Habits.
For sure. Lavish Habits
set it
for
off.
sure. Yeah, that definitely set it off.
And it's funny because like that song, hence the name, has this very like light, flourishy beat, and then you come in and talk about so you still gonna squeeze like a gem. It's like there's that theme throughout where you have these lush beats with you just firing at motherfuckers. What mode were you in with? Let's start with that one. What mode were you in with Lavish Habits?
The whole album I was like damn near like I said, like revenge mode, I think.
Yeah.
I don't like academics, so that was an easy line to do. I just felt like I was in a attack mode this whole album. You know what I mean? And that's what I think that's kind of what made it great. You know what I mean? You gotta go through things in life. And I was telling my best friend about this the other day. I was like, I can tell when a rapper ain't doing nothing but just like being rich and chilling. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to somebody that's actually like living real life and really going through some things. Because I could tell by the way you rapping. I could tell the things that you rapping about. And that's how people fall off. Because they don't have real life experience. And they're not really talking about shit. So the average everyday motherfucker can't really relate. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's when it starts to go downhill as a rapper. Because I'll be like, damn, like what do it take for a rapper that's great to fall off? And I'm like, it's the content of his raps, what he's talking about. You know what I mean? It's the life he living. Sometimes you gotta go. Like I said, you gotta go through some things, and sometimes you gotta go play in the dirt a little bit to make this shit really what it is. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, like the key to this is just staying sharp and not falling off.
What year was this also when you first started working on the project?
Damn. We started like late last year.
Yeah,
I would say.
Really?
Yeah, like late last year. Yeah, we kind of let it breathe, and then once we decided that we wanted to start back working again, it was easy. It was no brainer. We always had it in our mind that we was gonna do it again.
Yeah.
We just was, like I said, it's all about timing. You know what I mean? And I feel like, 2025 period gonna be a historical year in rap. For the drops that came out this year. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
And I just think it was just perfect timing right now. We in an era where it's so much content, so much streaming, so much this, so much that if you making great art, I think you'll stand out.
Freddie, do you feel like, I saw an interview you were talking about how 50 Cent was one of your early inspirations.
Correct.
Do you feel like you were channeling your inner 50 at all in the way that you were just in attack mode on all these records?
I feel like I'm always channeling my inner 50. Like I said, he was one of my inspirations to even start.
Yeah.
When I got out of boot camp in like 2003, the first album that I bought was Get Rich or Die Trying. Wow. So I was like, he fierce. He don't give a fuck. Yeah. And that's what I loved about him. And still to this day. So, yeah. I would say that, yeah, definitely.
You're one of like the last few rappers I feel like who are unafraid of being direct, naming names, naming situations. Why don't you shy away from that, especially just given the ecosystem that we're in?
You know what? I mean, really mainly because I got to this point with no real alliances or no real rap friends or any of that, none of that, no clique, none of that type of shit, really, to be honest. So it's like, I don't really care how, nobody feel about nothing that I got going on, and maybe that's, just me being from Gary, I think that we, where I'm from, I think that we just got just a blue collar, I don't give a fuck mentality. Yeah. And, I think that's just how people where I'm from, how we are, so people see that, and, some people take offense to, you know, the way I am. They think it's brash. They think it's, you know, a lot of people don't like me. But I think that's what drives me, though.
Yeah.
You know, I don't care.
Al, you complement that well with the beats that you make, right? How do you kind of feed his energy, or at least give him the runway to talk his shit on this album with your production choices?
I think we work long enough now, and usually once I get into a good working relationship with any artist, I get to kind of figure out what makes the pen move. Because, like, you know, as a producer, if you're doing like a collaborative record, like, of course I want to have some like dazzling beats and shit that makes my producer friends go, wow, you know, but beyond that, it is more about figuring out what makes their pen move. Because in the end of the day, whatever the beat sounds like, it's the writing, in my opinion, that's going to make the song something special. Of course, the beat plays its part. Also, as producers, we got to strike first. We're like the maestro. Like, I never had a rapper come up to me and go, yo, I got 6 verses I want you to hear. Pick one.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
They're usually like, give me
Right.
6 beats, or let me hear some beats. So we're usually the one that has to strike first. So, but I like that challenge. So for me, at this point with Freddie, it's like easy, man. It's more a matter of like me being picky when I'm gonna play him, because he fucks with the shit I do. Even when we did like from Freddie to Alfredo one, it was like 9 out of 10 of the beats, he was like, yup, I'm gonna smoke this shit. So, you know, because he was hungry and was like always wanting to show his abilities, you know what I mean, and show that what he could do. And so now at this point, we're more in cruise control. And it's like, I'm being picky with the beats I was picking to play him, because I feel like I know he's gonna fuck with it. So you could even see the footage like when we played the Skinny Suge beat. You know, I played it for him the first time in the studio, and you could see you could almost hear his head clicking, because he's sitting in there, he's smoking, and it's like he's already formulating.
When I heard that beat, it was like, I was like, oh yeah, we about to do this shit again.
Yeah.
That was like, oh man, yes. All I saw when I heard that beat, I just saw like a big mafia movie. I don't know. As soon as I heard, I was like, oh yeah. Like I said, because I'm seeing the vision of it.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, I got to rap like I'm about to go sit at the table with
Last
Don Corleone
Don.
or something like
Did
that.
you about Skinny Suge 2 or Skinny
Part 2.
Part 2. Gotcha.
And he
Yeah,
came
yeah.
up with the idea to make it part 2. That was his call. He's like, he was already formulating. You can see the video. We have a snippet of it when I played him the beat in the studio.
Yeah.
But now I watch it now and I can see, because in the video I was looking the other way, but I could see in the clip he's like, and he was already formulating the idea of like, you know, the concept.
Even the way that he starts the track, like your flow, how you talk about how you want to use different flows on each of the tracks. I like the like gives that kind of mafioso energy to it.
Yep. I was just the crazy part before I made that record, I had just left New York, and I was with Ice-T.
Okay.
Crazy,
Shout out
right?
to
I
Ice, man. Shout out to
I seen
Ice.
Ice-T in Brooklyn Chop House, and I was like, damn. Then I had to think. Then I started thinking about colors. I was like, colors. And then when he did the Skinny Suge 2 beat, I was like, I am a nightmare walking, because that's what I knew, you know,
That
from
feeling.
a child looking at him, and I was like, damn, you know, that inspiration kind of, it resonated with me. Then I was like, I'm gonna start the rap off like that, like I'm Ice-T in '86. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, the first bars is like a, you know, homage to the
Yeah,
homage. To the great
yeah. When
Ice.
you stop paying homage in this game, that's another way you lose your way. I think so
Yep.
as well. You know, when you stop, you know, looking at, you know, the shoulders of the giants that you standing on. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I think everything I do, I try to pay homage in some kind of way to,
Yep.
you know, whether it's Scarface or Bun B or whoever, you know, anybody that was influential and instrumental in my career, I always give them they salute, because it wouldn't be no this if it wasn't for that.
Do you think we're losing recipes in that regard in some ways?
Definitely correct. Yeah, hell yeah. Hell yeah, definitely. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not one of those guys to sit up and be like, oh yeah, these young motherfuckers is nah, hell no. I love everything that everybody's doing. You know what I mean? But like the shit that I do, yeah, I think I'm a last of a dying breed. For sure.
Yeah, and you kind of talk about that on the record too. Al, you had mentioned Freddie, right? And there's this kind of dance that you have to play as a producer in letting Freddie get his shit off, but then also, of course, you have all these other collaborators that you work with. There's the line could have ran the Fetty by myself, bitch. I'm the best with Al, which you know is what it is. How do you feel when you hear that? Listen,
if I was lying, now if that was a lie, then I'd be like, all right, y'all got it. You know what I'm saying? But I wasn't lying. You know what I mean? Like that, you know. My bad, I didn't mean to take over the question.
Nah. Look, in this, as a rapper, that's your right to feel that way.
You gotta feel that way, man. You gotta wake up and piss excellence. If you don't, nigga, if I don't think I'm the best going in a booth, then who will? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I gotta have that confidence when I go in there. Like I said, who will? Who gonna think that I'm the best? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, coming out of Gary, Indiana. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like I had to create that.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, you know, I love everybody. If I said something about you on this album, I still love you. I just had to get the shit off.
I was gonna say, did Curren&y give you a call? Was he like, what the hell? Or is it kind of just like a let it be in the raps type of?
Yeah, it ain't nothing like that.
I'm good to know because obviously Fetty is, I think, a joint that's in that ecosystem of when you think of classic
I agree.
rapper producer collab tapes.
I agree. That's why I mentioned it.
Yeah.
You know, how important it was. You know what I'm saying? It was great. It was an important album, I think, you know. But, you know, it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, you have your fair share of shots at everybody. You know what I mean?
And I got love for everybody, too. You know what I mean? It's like your daddy got to come in and spank your ass sometime, though. He still love you.
So it is fair to say, then, that you aren't someone who holds grudges indefinitely.
Nah, I ain't tripping, man. We could always, you know, as black men or men, period, we can always, like, work it out. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I don't, like I said, man, I don't really have no problem with nobody at all. I'm just, you know, like I told you earlier, I don't do therapy, so this is my therapy. So I had to, you know, say the things that was on my mind, you know, and the things that I felt, and, you know, and I think that's what makes the album, you know, the project's great. You know, you let it all bleed out. You know what I'm gonna get on there and say. You know, I can only say what's true and what's real to me.
There's a video that came up a few weeks ago of what looked to be you and Benny the Butcher talking in an airport in Paris, and it seemed like West Side Gun was kind of mediating it. Mm-hmm. Was that video recent, and have y'all since spoken, obviously, since your feud?
I mean, you saw the video.
Yeah. Well, some people thought it was an old video. That's why I asked, was it like a video that was actually from a few weeks ago and not from like a year ago or some other period of time?
I'm gonna say this. It was I mean, it was, you know, you saw me standing there. I was in the airport.
Yeah.
But everything that, you know, everybody tried to make out of it, that wasn't true. Mm. So I didn't even really, barely even said a word. Mm-hmm. I was just standing there. I saw them, was standing there. Of course, we in a French airport. What are we gonna do? I ain't going to jail over there, so y'all do y'all thing. I was like, man, the only thing I really said was, hey, man, this ain't the time or the place. I just tried to keep it gangster and just, you know, I was on my way to London to meet up with him and get a bag. So I ain't about to fuck my bag up, fucking with no niggas. You know, I think, you know, a lot of this rap shit be on some WWF shit, so I don't get into that. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't never even, you know, spoke to West Side Gun. You know what I mean? So I don't know where all that come from. I don't know what all the. I don't know. I didn't even really look at that shit. I looked at the shit and I saw people was talking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, this some more fake shit. So I don't even, you know, like I said, man, you saw footage of me there in the airport, but it wasn't nothing. It wasn't nothing that everybody was making it out to be. I was just standing there with my arms folded up, bro. I barely said a word. So. Okay. And that was that.
For sure.
All the other shit is, like I said, WWF shit. But them niggas is into that wrestling shit, so they do that. I don't wrestle, nigga.
That's a bar. I'll hold you. They are into the wrestling shit.
Yeah, they into that shit. I don't do that. I don't do all that.
Let me just say.
Talk to me, Al.
I'm Switzerland.
I
have relationships with everybody. Shout out to Curren&y. Shout out. These are all we're men. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
We're all men,
of course.
And all these people are all friends of mine that I work with, and I like to feel like I don't get dragged into that shit.
Not at all.
Yeah.
So shout out to all my brothers, and everybody work everything out. But
Yeah.
I'm Switzerland.
Yeah. That's what it felt like. You are the Geneva of this entire situation. It was like you are the neutral territory that people can kind of travel in and out of.
I come from the street, so all of that, this shit, bringing the street shit into this shit and shit getting physical and all of that shit, that is what it is, man. Like I said, man, we all grown men out here with kids.
Mm-hmm.
We trying to do what we gotta do. I don't give a fuck about none of that other shit.
Rich too.
Yeah,
Rich and grown.
Rich and
With
grown.
children.
That's another thing.
Let's add that into
That's
the
another thing
pot.
too. I don't even let none of that other shit outshine the music. I think that other people need it. They need your energy toward that, you know what I mean? But I don't need that shit, you know what I mean? Like I said, with the shit that I was saying on my album, if people got offended by it, and that was just me venting and saying how I feel, just telling my side of the story. But it was attack mode, but it wasn't hit 'em up Tupac mode.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It wasn't that bad, you know what I'm saying? Because I can get that bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like I said, man, when I was recording this, when I was in a crazy space mentally, and I just used all that negative energy and turned it into something positive.
Mm-hmm. And that's what I was gonna say. Making history with Alfredo.
Yeah.
One, being nominated for a Grammy.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned on Jean-Claude how it's like you felt like Grammy night was like the trophy getting stolen from you.
Yeah.
I just kind of wanted, because you have that viral clip of like, I'm still undefeated in court.
Yeah.
Great moment.
Yeah, I go to jail.
I
That was
wanted
a great
to-
line.
A great line. I wanted to quickly just like walk me through that day, like Grammy day. That was still such a major moment for the culture. Like, what was that experience like for y'all?
I think that I never in my life thought I'd be nominated for a Grammy. I wasn't never even shooting for that.
Mm-hmm.
So for them to everybody that works in this game, you want to be recognized by your peers and everything for the work you do. If you say you don't, then nigga, you're lying. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, for them to recognize us for the hard work that we put in and what we do, and it was a beautiful thing. And I ain't never been one to like I said, I don't do it to go to award shows or anything of that nature. But to get nominated for the Grammy and to see the way my mom lit up, that was really what did it for me. So it's like, all right, man, now I want to do this again because I want to see her feel that way again. You know what I mean? So that's what really that was the biggest thing for me. Once I seen her light up and her face lit up from me being my name next to saying Grammy nominated next to it, that was it for me. To see my mom love that was I was like, all right, now I want to do this again.
Yeah.
Hopefully, but whether I won or lost, it didn't matter because I accomplished what I set out to do right there.
Real. What about you, Al? What was that experience like?
It was dope. And like, for me, it was really crazy because, shout out to Empire, who was the distributor, but this was ESGN/ALC. Like, this was our own indie labels, made enough of a wave that we were at the fucking Grammys.
Right.
That part was crazy to me. Like, damn, we really, it just made it feel like, oh, you could rumble with the Giants too. Like, you don't have to, we didn't switch our style. It was just us doing us. And it just gave us, I think, a little more reassurance. You know what I mean? Like he said, none of us do this. If Q-Tip and Large Professor or Premier call me and say they like an album, that's better than a Grammy. For me.
Yeah.
That's what we did it for.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but obviously, like the statement that is made, not to mention record sales go up, everything just goes up. So shout out to the Grammys, you know what I mean? Because it definitely gave us a little spark and made us realize we could make big waves,
Yeah.
Just us. Like with our team, of course, but it was pretty reassuring,
Yeah, and a lot of people saw that and said that it revived the rapper-producer duo lock-in that people wanted to do. We saw a lot more of it.
Look, I've done a lot, and I don't know which site did a recent take on all my collaborations and they rated them.
That was us.
Alfredo was number one.
That was us.
Alfredo, shout out to Complex.
Yeah, I mean,
I always felt it was up there. You know, Prodigy one is close for me as well because like either Return of the Mac or Albert Einstein was
That's my favorite one.
started to run for me. But Alfredo had the impact, undeniably, of any record that I did collaborative.
And shout out to Pete too, because when we was making this one, this is crazy that he say that, because I was like, yeah, this is what I want to capture, the camaraderie and the essence that him and P had. I was like, I want to kind of capture that and bottle it up and put this into this Alfredo too. You know what I'm saying? So he was definitely somebody that I was thinking about when I was making it. You know, rest in peace.
Yep.
Definitely.
God, yeah. So
Yeah.
it was a big deal. You know what I mean? Being able to do another one. Yeah.
Alfredo 3.
Well,
Whoa, shit.
listen,
That's
it's a franchise now, so I'd be lying if I said we weren't already cooking.
What's the food that we're gonna go with for this one, for the third one?
Oh, we gonna come with some shit though. You gonna see. You gonna see.
Okay.
No sneak peeks, man.
Nah.
So my last question, you guys have obviously been locked in, but individually, Freddie, for you, who's another producer who you haven't locked in with yet that you would want to try to for an entire project? And then Al, same for you with an artist who's an artist you haven't worked with yet that you'd want to try to lock in with for an entire project.
Oh, wow. Sheesh, that's crazy. I want to do, well, I worked with him already, but Catronada for sure. I already talked about that before. That's my dog.
Dope.
I talked to him all that's my dog.
Y'all got a good chemistry. Every record you guys ever did was crazy.
Yeah, he be bringing a lot of different kind of, like I said, man.
Different worlds.
Yeah, different. Yeah,
crazy.
when I love working with. To me, production is so important. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could do an album with 30 producers and all of that shit, but to me, that shit just don't really do it for me like that. You know what I mean? I kind of like to lock in with one guy. The less, the better. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I don't know. When I work with guys like Madlib and Al and like I said, and K, it's like these dudes is legends. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I gotta rap on that legendary level. Like when Al throw me a beat, it's like Troy Aikman throwing Michael Irvin a pass. It's like I know I'm gonna be there when he throw the ball. He could no look throw that motherfucker, and I'm gonna be there to catch him.
Yeah.
Because it's like I said, the chemistry's there. So it's like building the chemistry and the camaraderie and all of that is just as important as doing the music.
Mm-hmm. And what about for you, Al? Who's an artist you haven't worked with that you want to lock in with?
I mean, I had a bucket list entry that I was able to take off this year. I guess I could say that. Erica. Badu. That was a dream for me.
Yeah.
That was literally something I never could have imagined. And now we have a whole record together. I always say one other person is kind of a no-brainer.
Hope? Yeah.
Yeah, everybody want to work.
That's
with
like, and I'm closer to having a direct line.
Okay.
So you never know, but that would be, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
shout out to
Hov.
Hov, man. He did tap in actually and said that he, fuck with the record and everything. That meant a lot.
Yeah, that means a lot
as well. So, but the thing about Jay, he is tapped in to everything, from the under to the over, which blew my mind when we were able to connect. He knows everything.
Yeah.
He's still a lyricist at heart. None of those billions of dollars confuse you. He's still
Still
this.
a Jedi Knight.
And cares and knows about the lowest underground to the highest top. He got it all. He's Jay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's dope. Great ever do it well.
Real.
I'm appreciative that I was able to also sit here with two legends talking about a classic tape, man. Alfredo 2 out now. Tour coming soon.
Tour coming soon for sure.
My brothers, thank y'all so much for taking
Appreciate
the time.
y'all having
man.
us, man.
For sure.
We're looking
For
out.
Complex, I'm Jordan Rose. Peace. Yes, sir. Crip Mac is nuts.
Crip Mac.
Crip Mac is fucking nuts.